of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Ms. Regal, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Andrus. Mrs. Baxter. Mr. Conti.
Here.
Mr. Detmer. Mr. Detmar.
Here.
Mr. Eichfeld.
Here.
Mr. Carabin.
Yes.
Mrs. Magnata.
Here.
Mr. Welsh.
Here.
President Dr. Paxide.
Present.
8 present, 1 absent.
Okay, great. May I have a motion for the agenda, please?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. We have an executive session today for the purpose of support negotiation, meet and discuss updates, MOU, special education, and safety updates. May I have a motion for the approval of minutes from July 12th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. It is with regret that we have the next motion on the agenda. May I have a motion for the resignation of Mr. Edward Andrus?
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? Well, Ed is a personal friend. I'm sad to see that he's not here with us anymore. And I pleaded with him to continue to serve on the board. I think he decided that he wants to focus on his career and family and other commitments that he had. So just want to say that I will personally miss him. During the 3-4 years that he served on this board, I don't think there was ever any doubt where he stands on any issues. And regardless of whether we agreed or disagreed, we always respected his opinion and his contribution. With that, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. So with this resignation, there is a vacancy that is happening on the board, and we have a process for filling that vacancy. And I'm just asking Mr. Fitzgerald to please tell us what the process is.
Under the public school code, the board has an opportunity now over the next 30 days to fill the vacancy that was just established with the last motion. Generally speaking, and this is something that has come up in a number of districts over the last several months. There have been vacancies, and there has to be a process established. There's no specific way that the school code requires a board fill a vacancy, and it's been done in different ways here over the years. I would recommend that with a 30-day window, that the board establish a timeline. I would suggest maybe until the Friday before the next school board meeting, where interested and qualified individuals, and when I say qualified, there are minimal legal requirements to be a holder of office in Pennsylvania. You would have to meet those standards. That they would provide maybe a letter of intent or interest in the position, and a possible resume CV that goes along with that recommendation. That would be received by the end of business on, say, that Friday before the next board meeting.
August 5th.
That would be to the secretary of the board, Ms. Regal. The board then would subsequently get that documentation of a list of individuals who are interested. And then from there, the next meeting, which is that following Tuesday, there could be an opportunity for those interested candidates to make a brief public statement about their interest. Except for the questions of the candidates, you could do so. And then it's really up to the board publicly, because everything would have to be done publicly, to determine whether there's an individual to fill that vacancy.
Okay, great. So just to summarize what Mr. Fitzgerald said, we are thinking about, you said the Friday before the board meeting. So that's August 5th, end of the workday that day. Ms. Regal, what time is that? So that we have
4:30.
4:30.
No, sorry, no, it's Friday,
Yeah,
so 12:30.
but you're still posting the agenda that
Prior to
day.
12:30.
Right, okay, so 12:30 on August 5th.
One other thing, do they have to have the disclosure, was it the financial?
They would have to have that completed by the time they take office. So to the.
Okay,
extent
so
you
it
identify
doesn't have to be done before.
Oath is administered. If they sit down and they're ready to vote that day, they have to have that submitted by that point.
Okay. But this could be an action that we take maybe on August 9th, but at the end of the meeting. In which case, during that meeting, we won't do the oath of office. We can do it the next time. So that would sort of like provide a little, breathing time for.
Because when you run, you have, wait,
We're getting some figures.
yeah, need to turn the volume down, so. When you run, you have to have that submitted before you run, so I just thought it had to be done beforehand.
We can do that. I'm just not sure if it's, it will be considered as an undue burden to, okay, something is getting worse. So,
Just turn the volume down. Working on it, okay.
so it may be considered as undue burden if we, add, a lot of restrictions that would prevent people from.
I'm not trying to make.
Sure, no, I understand.
I just want to make sure we had it legal.
Right. I think what Mr. Fitzgerald is saying is that by the time they take the seat and start voting, they should have that done.
Right.
So,
Just two other things. I would suggest that this vacancy be posted on the district website tomorrow. Just with the outline of the expectations of what to submit. And under your policy, it speaks about what the qualifications are to be on the board. We should note that.
okay.
President of the district.
Resident. Yeah.
Correct.
So choose judgment in the second meeting of the.
So first meeting, but this is what we have, yeah.
Yeah, you could do it. We would set up the agenda for the next meeting to be flexible enough that you could interview and then potentially take action that evening.
Do we vote on that person?
Yes,
Sir?
yes, it's public vote, yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I know that this probably wasn't the most clear, but what Ms. Regal will have on the website would be the clear version of it that would have the dates and the times and what is needed all listed there. We have nothing under recognition, nothing under presentations. Superintendent report, Ms. Bassi.
Thank you, Dr. Baxad. I just wanted to give the community and the board an update on where we stand with personnel. So we've been interviewing throughout the summer to fill any of the vacancies that we have. So we have hired 3 special education teachers, 2 Spanish immersion teachers, 1 band director and his entire team, 2 theater directors, a long-term sub school nurse, and a long-term sub for special education. 1 paraprofessional, as you can see this evening, a number of coaches. We are still in need of 2 paraprofessionals and a long-term speech therapist to start the school year off. Obviously, we cannot control when our teachers are deciding to leave the district. So we're getting down to the, I guess, wire, you can say. So there are some teachers who have given us kind of a heads up that they're in an interview process, and we've been able to post anticipated vacancies to kind of get ahead of that timeline and hopefully have people in line if there are teachers who choose to leave, which has been helpful. But again, we can't tell what that timeline is going to be to start off. We are in our first round of interviews for principal and for director of curriculum instruction and educational technology this week. And we still have interviews for special education secretary and a middle school secretary position to be filled. So we've been very busy this summer. So I just wanted to give you that brief update.
Good thing that you have an HR person to take care of all of these. I received a question, and I think it's worth asking the question. And the question was about the ESY. So you've given some updates about that to the board during the, I think, last 2-3 meetings, but I just want to see if you can provide a little more update for the public about where we stand and what is the status of the ESY obligations that we had during the summer, and what's the plan for continuing that?
So I don't know the specific question, but ESY is this extended school year, which is for our identified students in the district. Usually they have about 25 hours, if not more, of education or related service hours that are provided to them. So in years past, this has been provided through our intermediate unit. It's also been provided by the district. This year and last year, it has been provided by the district and intermediate unit, essentially over the same period of time. What we've heard, and we've always had trouble sort of filling these positions with internal teachers, even though we have opened it up with external teachers as well. But what we've heard is it's usually scheduled for directly after school ends. So the teachers essentially get a week break, and then they start what is a 4-day, 4-week ESY program. The teachers had stated to us that, getting at the end of the school year and being the last couple of years that we've had, they needed a break before they started, and longer than just 2 weeks or a week period of time. So we had scheduled extended school year for, it would have started this week, if I'm correct, last week. Later on in the summertime, it would still go the same amount of time. So the 4 weeks, 4 days. But we have had trouble filling this position. We've posted it internally, we posted it externally. We even offered additional time during the school or during the extended school time that we would normally schedule for additional planning. And we have had no teachers either externally or internally apply and interested. So we had to not run extended school year this year. Except we have offered the related services. So that's your physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech. We have given that as an option to provide to the families and students who would be required to have it. Our academic instruction, however, has not been able to proceed. So the families, Mrs. Broadhead has presented them an option to either continue it throughout the school year, and we would make up those hours that we would have after school or during the school year, or bring that into next summer. So she's been in contact with every single family and has individually with those families created what their option was and program moving forward. So I thank her for that, because that's been a juggling act for her as she started a new job. It's been inconvenient, to say the least, and this is something we knew going into it. We waited until the very last minute to cancel it because we really wanted to get somebody on board, and we waited as long as we could before we had to kind of pull the plug on the academic instruction piece of it. So
how many students are we talking about who are impacted by this? This is, you haven't been lucky enough to come to the podium. So this is one of the jobs of the special ed director. Ms. Velocity knows that all too well for the first 6 months every meeting. Yeah. So, and the reason for that is so that it would be recorded and others would also be able to hear you. So how many students are eligible for this? Or
it's approximately 12.
And the impact of that on the students, I'm assuming that the ESY is there because we don't want to have that gap in the summer for the kids to regress. So, if the program doesn't run, I mean, you can always run it later, but then it's not going to have the same effect. What is the plan to mitigate and make sure that these kids won't fall behind and they can basically progress normally?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult because the point of ESY is for students to not show regression of skills. So each student, we're going to have to meet as an IEP team and kind of determine what does that look like then during the school year for instruction. If they're opting for the hours during the school year, that obviously will help because it's not as long of a period of time. If it's next summer, then we'll have to really kind of plan out what it looks like to make sure we're reviewing concepts throughout this year, in addition to the new goal work, and then plan for summer for additional remediation.
Yeah, and the last question that I have about this is, what can we do to make sure that we don't find ourselves in this situation again? And this is one of those questions that, I recognize the challenge and difficulty. We are facing this unprecedented sort of like time where we have to be juggling to fill all of these positions that Ms. Velocity mentioned earlier. And I know that she and, a lot of others at the district have been really busy trying to recruit and find people who are qualified and can fill the positions that we have. I just want to make sure that this particular group of kids who are some of the most vulnerable ones that are under our care are receiving the services that they deserve. So what can we do to make sure that we are not going to be in this situation in the future?
I typically start looking for staff as early as January, with the hopes to have a staff list for approval in either March or April. I'm hoping also with providing staff time to gather some materials in advance so that it's not as much on the teachers, that more teachers would be willing to put in the hours to do the actual instructional piece instead of having to gather materials as well. So I'm hoping that both of those pieces will help mitigate the problem.
And this is just, I promise, the last question. So the teachers who are a part of this, are they district teachers or are teachers typically who come from outside?
My experience has been district teachers. That's what I've been doing my past few years is
Sure.
I've been able to have district staff. Sometimes you get substitutes that are willing to work as well. But typically it's district staff.
So I'm just going to use this opportunity as an appeal to our teachers to do this. This is, I think we all recognize that this is extra to what they had signed up for, perhaps as part of their contract, but one, they are compensated for it. It's not just for the sake of public to know. It's not free service. It's for a fee. But then it's very important for our kids, and it's most effective if the teachers who have been working with these kids continue basically the service during the summer. Thank you very much. Have anything else?
I don't have anything left in my superintendent's report, but I just want to piggyback on what Ms. Broadhead said. Part of who we depend on usually year to year for ESY is the intermediate unit. And sometimes we're in a situation where our most complex needs students who attend IU classrooms and would normally attend ESY classrooms, if they can't also staff them on their end, it does fall back on the district to still provide those services and to provide compensatory hours and services as well. So that's something that we can plan ahead for as much as possible, but sometimes we aren't notified from their perspective until later in April or May. So just to piggyback on that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Courtesy of the floor to visitors on the agenda items only. I see none. Presentation of bills. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. Next, we have treasurer's report. May I have a motion for that?
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments? Any transfers? No transfers. Mr. Bonneberger. No. This is the beginning of the year. Forget about it. October. Okay, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. Next, under education, we have a special education plan. I noticed that it's not attached to the agenda, but it's on the website. It would be best, and I say that for the future, if we have a link to that on the agenda so that everyone can easily find that. May I have a motion for that?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Velocity, would you like to say a few words about the plan and what it is?
The special education plan, I think Ms. Broadhead could actually come back up to the podium and
Absolutely,
speak.
yeah. I ask you and you can ask whoever you want.
Yeah.
So the plan gives an overview of our department. Students are, it gives an overview of case managers, the amount of students that are on caseloads, the amount of paraprofessionals that we have in the district and contracted related services. The talks about our least restrictive environment. We are actually well above the state average. The state average is about 62% of what they're looking for students, 80% or more of their time in regular ed. And last year we were actually at 69%. So that number is going up from the past few years. And we continue to trend above the state average for that. Talks about some different programmings that we offer across the district. The biggest piece And we met with a committee of teachers, parents, and other staff across the district is the professional development plan. That's part of it. And it talks about the different areas of professional development that we'll provide throughout the plan. Just get to that page. The state gives you specific areas to look at. They are autism, positive behavior support, paraprofessionals, transition, science of literacy, parent trainings, and IEP development. So each of those areas on the plan has the different training opportunities that we'll offer over the next few years, as well as the year that we're projecting to provide that. You'll see one of the biggest ones for this year is working with the staff for legally defensible paperwork. That'll be a big focus for this year. And a lot of the other ones are for future years.
We have designated professional development days for that then?
So it'll be between professional development days, the PD time after school for staff when applicable. It's trying to fit it in wherever we can.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any questions or comments for Ms. Baratta? Great, thank you very much. See, you survived the first two trips to the podium. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. Under personnel, we have item number 1, professional appointment, and item number 2, long-term substitutes. Item number 3, 2022-23 fall coaches. Item number 4, 2022-23 winter coaches. May I have a motion for items number 1 through 4.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motions are approved. I just want to thank all of the coaches and other staff who are volunteering or taking these very important positions. They are a big part of what our kids do and their experience here at the school, and I thank them on behalf of the board. Item number 5 is an MOU about musical theater stipend. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Bassett, can you tell us what this MOU is about?
The MOU is for 2 positions. One is for the fall production, fall production, and the second is for the elementary theater position.
And why are we under MOU for these?
These positions are not included in our teacher's contract.
So the MOU has to happen every year for the school to be able to have a fall production and a elementary musical.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. Item number 6 is the maternity leave. Number 7, sabbatical request. Number 8, part-time instructional paraprofessional. May I have a motion for items number 6, 7, and 8?
So moved.
Okay, any questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motions are approved. Item number 9 is department team leaders, grade level chairs. May I have a motion for that?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Riegel, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Eichfeld,
No.
Mr. Welsh,
Yes.
Mr. Detmar,
Yes.
Mr. Carabin,
Yes.
Mrs. Baxter,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
No.
Ms. Magnata,
Yes.
Dr. Paxton.
No.
5 yes, 3 no.
Okay, the motion's passed. Item number 10, district doctors for the 2022-23 school year. Item number 11, 22-23 co-curriculars. May I have a motion for those 2 items, number 10 and 11?
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, The motions are approved. Under facilities, we have the minutes for the facility committee on July 13th. That's attached to the agenda. And then we have a surplus obsolete items. May I have a motion for that?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion approved. Under finance, we have the finance committee summary that's attached to the agenda. For consideration, item number 1 is the behavioral health associates contract. Item number 2, Center for Humanistic Change Agreement. Item number 3 is the Karen Foundation contract. Item number 4 is, well, let's do items number 1, 2, and 3. May I have a motion for those?
So, second.
Any question or comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motions are approved. Item number 4 is 2022-23 lunch price increase. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bonenberger, I'll ask you to just tell us what the prices were and what the current prices are and what's the justification for that.
What's in the motion is the current prices for elementary is $1.85 for breakfast. The middle school and high school, it's going up to $1.90. The school trade lunch for elementary is currently $2.90. It's going up to $3. And the middle school and high school is currently $3.05. It's going up to $3.25. As everybody else is seeing, we're seeing triple prices in what our food costs are. So we're trying to keep up with what our pricing is, to at least break even with what the costs are.
And what's the impact of these increases on the kids who are on free and reduced lunch?
Well, free, they'll get it for free if they apply, and then reduced, they get a reduced price. So
So the reduced price, does that also include increase or it remains the same as what it was before?
it's depending on what the state amount is. I have to look at what the reduced, it would be. I don't think Trish gave me what the reduced price is at this point. But it's based on what they get approved for reduced, and then it's a lower rate. But I don't know what the lower rate is right now.
Okay, any other questions or
Yeah,
comments?
yeah, my question, Dave, is if you're saying the price increases for food is going up triple, how can you justify such a small increase?
Well, I mean, we're hoping that this will at least help, cover the costs and stuff like that, because, I mean, we don't know what pricing are when we look at it. It's, we look at it one day and it's this price, and then with the food chain supplies, it's sometimes double, sometimes triple what it is. So we're hoping to mitigate, some of our costs by these increases. We also don't want to overprice it that people can't afford it or don't want to pay for lunch either at this point.
Now, I have a question. When did they start paying for lunch? Didn't we have, everyone was free?
This will be the start again of this year. The last 2 years was free.
Okay, other questions, comments? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. Item number 5 is high school masonry repairs. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Well, any questions or comments?
I just make the comment that this was not budgeted.
Just, another $42,000 that, we have to pay and wasn't part of the expected expenses for this year, or for that matter, forever. I didn't think that we were going to be. I didn't see it as part of any of the spreadsheets that we had considered that we have this cost, but
It's basically falling apart, and it's going to cause more costly damage if we don't repair it, because water will get behind it and create more.
Yeah, and this actually was discussed last year. It just didn't make the cut. So that's why we're looking at it now. Now, this point he's making, it's just going to get worse.
no, I wasn't questioning why we are doing it. I was just basically pointing out the fact that all these unexpected costs that we didn't have as part of our budget, and these happen. And
We'll see
you know,
more of them.
in the past year or two, I've seen many more of them. I don't know, maybe. there's- Okay, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. Under community update, we have the Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Conte.
Nothing to report.
The foundation, Ms. Magnata.
Nothing to report.
NCC, Ms. Baxter.
Nothing to report. We didn't have a meeting in July.
Votech, Ms. Malas. She just visited there, but Mr. Detmar, Mr. Eichel,
No meeting this month, so nothing new, but we're still anxiously anticipating seeing Ms. Velocity in our boardroom as our superintendent of record.
well, congratulations. The IU, Mr. Eichel,
Nothing to report. They didn't have a meeting either in July.
New York Business.
Yeah,
Citizens,
Mike here.
yeah, please, Mr. Caravan.
Just because our student representatives aren't at the meeting tonight, I thought it'd be reasonable to mention a 16-year-old Laura Salkin student we have named Dana Passerman, who is out collecting clothing in partnership with the Kindness Project of Lehigh Valley for teenage and preteen students of foster families. It's a recognition of someone doing good, which is a positive thing in my eyes.
I'm sorry, collecting what?
Clothing, new and used clothing for foster children.
Clothing.
Clothing.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm
Yes, that
volunteering.
person has to tell you. Great. And, you know, since you mentioned that, Mr. Carabin, we also had one of our alum who achieved something extraordinary recently, Talita Diggs, who was a part of a team that won the national championship and is now record holder for, I think, 4x100, which is amazing. Congratulations. Citizens inquiries and comments. The announcement, future meetings, August 9th and August 23rd, both of them 7 o'clock, the same room. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.